Welcome to the LY show, the Waiting Out COVID-19 series. I'm Li Ying. On this episode, we continue to talk to people about how they've been coping with this pandemic and how their lives have been affected. Today, we are very glad to have Ms. SUCHI joining us from Singapore. Ms. SUCHI is an empowerment coach who loves to spread joy, energy, and empowerment around the world. So, Ms. SUCHI, we are thrilled to have you on the show at this moment in life. Hello, Ms. SUCHI.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You know, our goal is to make a record or documentation of people's life during this particular time. Problem, from the globe. People from the globe are experiencing a lot of challenges mentally and physically, and a lot of other aspects as well. So having someone coming from a psychology background or stress management as you do is really, really important. So thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
All right, so Ms.
I love what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yes.
I love what I'm doing. I love my role. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, great. So Ms. SUCHI, where are you at the moment?
I live in Singapore. I'm a Singaporean.
Okay, great. So how's the situation in terms of COVID-19 there?
It's pretty much in control. Our political leaders have taken actions quickly and very wisely. So we have enough supplies of groceries. We have been given free masks and sanitizer. Everything is in control here. Yeah.
And how do people generally respond to this tough situation?
There are all sorts of people in this world, not only in Singapore, like around the world. So what I tend to do is I would pay attention to what's good, and I'm there to support and help coach and mentor people who are seeking help when it comes to mental health issues, anxiety, depression. But for the rest of them, those who are born to complain and they just want to complain and spread negativity around anywhere they go, I just bless them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Ms. SUCHI, what is it like working as an empowerment coach?
It's beautiful. It's like, first of all, it took some time for me to be where I am. Is that once upon a time, I used to be depressed. I was having suicidal thoughts. From there, I worked on myself, and I'm here where I'm helping people coming out of depression, saving lives of people who are having suicidal thoughts. So it's a journey, and it's a beautiful feeling, and I see it as a blessing to be able to spread positive vibes around, to be able to save lives. Yeah, it's a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're also a laughter coach.
I am.
Yeah,
I'm the only female laughter coach in the whole world who conducts 100 types of laughter exercises. Yeah.
It's amazing. I think for a lot of people, including myself, have very little idea of what a laughter coach is. So would you please like to share some of your experience with us?
Sure. So my mother left us. My mother had cancer, so she died 8 years back, and I was having depression. Like I was in depression, very deep depression, where I didn't want to even go to work. I was dragging my feet to work, and I was always crying in bed and those kind of feelings. So one of our family friends suggested that there is this laughter exercises where people go together and laugh together. And so why don't you try? Just go and learn. So I picked up some exercises from a local coach. His name is Mr. Ram. And I started to use as a tool to help others. Because when I conducted exercises, I see people being relaxed, more in order. There was less chaos in their minds, and they were happier than before. So I studied about brain development. Then I got a lot of information on how fascinating our brain is. Then I picked up exercises from the other coaches around the world, and then I designed laughter therapy. So my sessions and therapy is not just about laughing, but I brought a lot of ingredients and tailored it according to the needs of people. So when I'm conducting it with little children, I would not talk so much about science, like hormones, but when I'm dealing with professionals, I would bring in that science element. When I'm dealing with the elderly, those who are wheelchair bound, then I'll get them to do exercises where they just sit down and do it like this. So I change according to the age and the requirement of people whom I'm working with, my clients. So I just picked up the exercises, and then I brought like practicing mindfulness and whatever has helped me to come out of depression. So I brought that to the therapy, and it's working. Yeah, it's miraculous the way it works. So laughter is people take laughter as for granted. It's like, yeah, I might have a smiling face. Yeah, I laugh. Yeah, I watch some comedy serial. So it's not about that. There is so much more to it. Like hormones, happy hormones. What are the happy hormones? How can we get dosage of happy hormones? How can we lower down our stress hormones, which are causing high blood pressure, high sugar levels, and cortisol levels? So how can we lower that down and boost our happy hormones? So there is so much to learn, and there is so much to share with the world. So thank you for having me, where we are together, we are creating awareness about it.
Yeah, great. And so laughing is an exercise. I mean, there are people who just don't like to laugh. So
well, I have worked with people around the world because I speak at conferences. So there was once I came across a neurologist, and a very senior guy, a neurologist, and I'm like speaking about laughter is this, laughter is this, and he's like, no, I'm not going to laugh with you. And he was just like, do you want me to laugh when someone is dead? So those kind of things, and he was just not ready to laugh. And I explained about, instead of crying and mourning for the person who has left, and not attending to the people who are alive, and neglecting and ignoring the people who are alive, it will be good to work on our hormone levels and be there 100% for the people who are alive. Don't you think so? And he's like, then he's thought about it. And I said, just like you are crying and mourning for somebody, I'm not saying that you should not grieve, but how long you want to grieve? Like 7 years, 10 years, and not living your life fully and ignoring and neglecting people who are alive is not okay. Then I brought his awareness towards how temporary we are living on this planet, staying, I was not living. So very temporary period. So I said that, so you decide whether you want to be like this, like, I don't want to laugh, I want to be depressed, I want to pop up pills. So you want to be like this, or would you like to learn how to boost dosage of happy hormones? And then he decided to join and laugh together. Yeah.
that's good.
So it takes time. Yeah, it takes time for people, because there are people who are in some of the cultures, it's not okay for them to smile. Like if you smile, that means you are seen as a weaker person. So yeah.
All right. So Ms. Suchi, have you changed your presentation or talks to address the COVID-19 issues in the past month?
I'm not able to deliver talks personally. Like we used to gather, like people used to gather like 500 people, and I'm invited as a speaker, a welcome speaker or keynote speaker. But I'm not doing that anymore because I cannot socialize with them. So I was conducting virtual coaching till last week, and because cases are on the rise, we are not even encouraged to go to the community club and conduct virtual classes. So I stopped it last week. So now I'm sharing my videos online so that people can still laugh with me together. Yeah.
I see. All right. So I think a lot of people are practicing social distancing all over the world. And one of the problems they are having is how to deal with boredom. So, okay, from your professional perspective, do you have any advice for people who are terribly bored?
It would be good to still have some routines, like do not just let go of total, like just lay in bed for hours, like, okay, I don't need to go to work, so I don't need to dress up. So just like you're going to work, dress up, and don't show up at work, but show up at your desktop, at your cell phone, whatever you're using, your computer, and plan your day that way that you do take some time out for exercising. I just returned from my run. I ran for 1 hour at the car park, the top of the car park, multi-story car park, where there are no cars, no people. So when I went to jogging track, I saw a lot of people huffing, puffing, and there was an article about how far you should be if someone is running. So even if someone is running and you're not like, you're maintaining the 2-meter social distancing, but that person might just huff and puff and heavy breathing. He might just cough and pass the virus to your clothes, and you accidentally might get it. So this COVID-19 spreads real fast. So I decided not to go on jogging track. So I can actually use an excuse like, oh, gyms are closed, oh, stadiums are closed, oh, look, I cannot go to jogging track because that article says, but I didn't make an excuse, and I found a place which is like wide open car park deck, but there are no cars and there are no people on that space, that huge space, and I started to do my runs there. It's been like a week now, so I am getting my workout done. So there are lots of videos people are sharing online where you can use your home space to push the furniture away and just do some simple exercising, stretching. And some people are carrying their children, their babies up and down to get there because they don't have their weights at home. So it can still be done. So make sure that you take time out to exercise for half an hour at least 30 minutes. That's recommended. Yeah. So have some routines, plan your day properly. It shouldn't be like, okay, I don't need to go to work. That means there's no routine, and I can just lay in bed till late, and I just can be just watching TV, movies for hours. No, that's not how it should be. Check at least once or twice a day. Check how many cases are in your local community. Don't check the messages whole day, because some people are like, how many people died? Oh, what about this? What's going to happen to me? What about there's a virus next to me in my community? So it doesn't work, because it just adds on to your anxiety levels. And I would suggest that there are certain things we need to actually practice and change in order to cope with this uncertainty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. And when this pandemic broke out, did you feel scared personally?
I like to read about it, like what is it? So I came to know, oh, there's a virus, just like any other virus. So what's different about this virus? Oh, it attacks the respiratory system. So what are the things we need to do? Oh, we need to maintain hygiene. Like I'm someone who has been practicing maintaining hygiene for years because I'm a former principal. So I used to have sessions with my students and parents where we used to have proper hand washing techniques, where we have health promotion board group coming in to teach the children. So that was in place, like it was already in place when it comes to me, the way I am. But then I started to reinforce it with my team members, and then I'm in charge of a kindergarten, second language system, Hindi. So I made sure that I brief my teachers and I practice with the students so that they know how to wash hands properly. I also came out with hand washing laughter.
Yeah, what is that?
So what you need to do is you follow me, okay? So
okay.
you cannot be laughing if you had your meals, yeah. So it cannot be done. It has to be done before having meal, or at least half an hour, 1 hour, because it affects the digestion. Okay. Sure. So this is why it is. You rub your hands. So follow my steps, and the sounds are and then when the hands are clean, we will say ha 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 ha. We'll be happy. Okay. So that ha has to be from your belly, not just from your facial part. So this, when you do ha ha, you exhale any negativity, any frustration, any anger, resentment. You just exhale. Okay. So you have to give your 100%. Our brain is expected to release endorphins when we laugh out loud using our belly for 15 to 20 minutes. So this is just an example, a sample, okay? So you do like this, say a. You just say the sound, say a.
Okay, that's how we wash our hands. Okay. That really sounds good. Good. That was good. At first, actually, I was following you. It was like I was just following you. But the later part is just me laughing like spontaneously.
This is not even the warming up. Like I get people to do like shake hands, this and that. The proper, I need a lot of space and I need my own like music and also it's beautiful. But this is how I am making changes when it comes to COVID-19 and just having some routines to that there are things to do constructively. I have taken up a lot of online courses. So I picked up 41 online courses I picked up and I'm learning and just being there on social media, like showing up this kind of podcast interviews and YouTube interviews and conducted a virtual boot camp. So unleash the superhero in you for students from UK, Ukraine, Qatar, Singapore, and India. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you for the positive energy. And a lot of people, for some people, it's very difficult not to be scared. So do you have any strategy for these people to deal with their fear?
The only way to deal with the fear is to face it. So they would have to accept their reality. So instead of saying, oh no, this virus is going to go, but it's not going to go today. It's not going to go this evening. It would go. It would go if everyone starts to listen to the political leaders of their countries, what they're suggesting. So do not take social distancing as like, okay, we are going to go buy grocery, take the whole family, husband, wife, children, let's go. It's like an outing. It's not. You're not even sure whether you are carrying the virus or someone else. So the more you mingle, the more you are spreading it, right? So it would be good to stay at home and keep yourself constructively occupied. Have your day planned, like a planned day. Don't just leisure around, like just watch some movies which doesn't, yeah, you can relax your mind, watch some movies. Of course, what you're watching has an impact on yourself. What kind of language you're saying about yourself when you are alone, like, oh, I think I'm going to die, like that. These are the things which also affects our brain chemistry and body chemistry. So they have to be very careful. So accepting reality that, look, we can't go out for this many days. So how am I going to spend my time wisely, constructively, so that I can still have this kind of energy levels? I don't go down deep into depression. I don't have anxiety. I don't need to pop up pills, right? So it's important to accept the reality first, then take action. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very helpful. And because I personally know people who have depression in the first place. And because of this pandemic, it's even challenging for them to get antidepressants. So how can they cope with this situation, better?
For someone who is having depression, it's good to speak to someone else who are the people around them who are able to understand them and be there for them without judging them. It's really important for us to listen to that person who is sharing about depression. Let's listen very actively, like be there 100%. Give that person a listening ear. Be there for that person. That's important. And of course, do not judge. Don't say that like, oh, you are depressed, or oh, this is just a phase. It's going to be over. Well, why do you think this way? So you don't judge the person. Be there, listen to that person. Give some advice, as in like advice. If you are a professional who knows how to handle depression, anxiety, then you can give advice. Else, just being there is really good. Yeah.
Yeah. And for people who live in like big cities, like New York, like Shanghai, I mean, housing is really, really a problem in the first place. A lot of people live in tiny apartments, and some people probably have fear of confined space or claustrophobia, and what can be done to help them, adjust to the situation better?
Visualization will help. Like visualize yourself in a bigger space. Visualize yourself being free in open air, and believe that this phase will be over and I won't need to stay in the confined place anymore, and I will be out soon. I will be able to breathe fresh air in, I'll be able to go out. So visualizing would help, because that would calm down the anxiety. Yeah. And relaxing as much as you can instead of just paying attention to the confined space, distracting mind would help. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good to know. And as a professional, do you see any health problems that might arise due to the change of lifestyle?
Yeah, it's already happening, because there are depression rates have increased. Like the depression, a number of people who are depressed is more than last month now, because people tend to get affected by what's happening around them. They have not learned yet how to practice emotional mastery. Like, no matter what happens around me, I am in full control of myself. So they are still learning. So I would suggest it's a good time to read, learn, upgrade your skills, and keep yourself busy constructively. So they need to choose what they are watching, what they are learning, how they are spending their days. That's where they need to choose wisely. Yeah. So there are people who are having high blood pressure. There are people who are having high sugar levels due to COVID-19 spread. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I think for a lot of us, we are not very observant of our mental health, So, like, is there anything that people, can look into to be more, mindful of their mental health?
Yeah, so if you are someone who used to socialize a lot, like not right now, but usually, so if you don't feel like getting up from bed, you don't feel like even brushing your teeth, so that's a sign that you need to work on your energies and do a little bit workout to boost the energies instead of sinking into that sadness. So it'd be really good to exercise, I would suggest. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this is a really a new, a lot of things that we don't usually do, and then people are thrown into this situation. All of a sudden, a lot of people are lost, So we are really glad that you're sharing this specific, tips for people. So, okay, right now, how, apart from the things you mentioned, how do you spend your day constructively?
I have planned my day where I take time out for myself, so where I'm still grounded, connected, pretty much here, 100%. Like right now, I'm answering your questions. My brain is working, everything is in order. So I believe in being in the moment. So I have learned that, like, if right now I'm with you, my mind is not what's going to happen after this interview, what happened this morning. So it doesn't affect me anymore. So feeling centered is very important. For me, I make sure that I take time out for myself so that I am in control. So when I'm in control of myself, my energies are good. I'm able to spread it to other people around me, and of course globally, because I'm using technology to spread these vibes to the darkest corner of this earth. Yeah. So be connecting with yourself, being centered and grounded, so that you're not spreading negativity around, you're not spreading anxiety around, because anxiety can be passed on. Although we think that little children, babies, are even seniors, they are not saying anything, they are staying quiet, that does not mean that they are not anxious, or we are not passing the anxious vibes to them. Vibes can be transferred. Like when we are laughing together, I'm passing those vibes to you, although we are miles apart, right? We are not together in the same room. So that's how even if you're in the same room, we tend to pass our energy, our vibes to the person who's around us. So it would be really good to take control of yourself. So make sure that everything is in order, so that you can take care of your children, your family, your spouse, and of course, community. Yeah. So I'm someone who has started doing community works I've been doing this for past 8 years now. So I am there for them. Although I can't go out and can't really be there with them physically, but I'm just one phone call away. So I do speak to people on phone to calm them down, to tell them how to manage anxiety and depression. Yeah.
Mhm. So because of this virus, we look at people from age groups. All right, like from the information we get, like the senior citizens are more at risk. And these are the people who are likely to live alone or who are likely to live without, technology. So how can they cope with this situation if you have any,
Well,
idea?
I am a silver generation ambassador. So just before we were asked not to socialize, I was approaching seniors every single day. So I used to visit them. I used to spend time with them, check on their health, check on their, if any issues with their financial issues, if anything they want to talk about, just be there for them, spend time with them. So being a silver generation ambassador, it gives me that opportunity to mingle with seniors every single day. Well, I'm not seeing them physically, but I have my team members who are reaching out to the seniors to ask if they need meals, which are like prepared meals at their doorstep. So my team members are still continuing. For all the ambassadors, right now we are not meeting our seniors physically. But in Singapore, we have various agencies and our government bodies. There are departments. So those representatives, they do take care of seniors. So seniors are still being attended to. They are still being the food is still being delivered to their doorstep if they are unable to cook or there's no one to take care of them. So when it comes to Singapore, yeah, it's pretty organized and it's in order. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and then for the younger generation, I mean, like I have nephews who are teenagers. Okay, they are on cloud nine, and they're just like embracing this time of being at home with their devices, not attending school, not doing exams, and their parents are also at home. I'm not sure how much quality time they spend time together. So, do you have any advice for parents and the younger generation, how they can make the best use of the time they have at the moment?
In some countries, there's online coaching going on, so students can still stay connected with their teachers, still continue to learn and take themselves to the next level without having any interruption when it comes to education. And they can still do their homework with their parents' assistance. Some of them are able to do that independently now. I would say that we talked about having a proper routine. So it would be good if some parents already have been practicing routines. Like we must get up this time, then I have this me time with my child. I take my child for a walk, or I spend time with my child watching some educational video. So it would be good to attend to your work responsibilities. You're working from home, you do your exercise, then you plan an activity with your children where you and your child, like fixing a puzzle or solving some riddles and puzzles online. So you can still have that time together where you and your child are working on something together. Yeah.
All right. So a lot of experts predict that this virus might happen in the future, and it might become kind of a norm. So I mean, so if it has become kind of a norm in the future, how can people mentally prepare for it, and what they can do now to prepare themselves for more upcoming pandemic and stuff like that?
This virus has taught people how to pause and reflect on their behaviors. Because people were walking on this earth, not really taking good care of the earth, just abusing it, abusing all the natural resources. So it's high time for people like us to come up and request them to pause and reflect on what they were doing.
Mhm.
So I'm someone who is a vegetarian. I take good care of the planet by planting trees. I educate people on how to take care of the environment, how to reduce, reuse, and recycle. I am a former environmental advisor who continue to create awareness about climate change, about how to love the earth.
Mhm.
So this is a high time for people to be grateful for the natural resources they have got, and to tell themselves to not to abuse the earth anymore in the future. Uh, of course, this virus also has taught people how to practice hygiene, personal hygiene.
Yeah.
So it would be good to continue with it, because I have observed many times people do not wash hands before they eat. They touch
Mhm.
many surfaces and they just eat it. So this virus has also taught them this. So it would be good to continue with it. This virus has taught people the value of social gatherings, right?
Mhm.
So make sure that when these bans are uplifted and there's no ban, again, don't start to do it that badly. Do it like step by step, as in like not gradually. Yeah. So go easy on yourself, and know that even if this virus is not going to go in near few months, they still have full control of their time, their energy, what they want to do in their time, like what they want to learn and all. So they can still feel empowered by connecting with people who are very positive, who are able to guide them, coach them, who are able to give them tips on how they can survive during these times. Yeah.
Mhm. All right, because you're an empowerment coach. Generally speaking, now we feel that I think a lot of people are feeling that they are not in control of their life. So how can they get that autonomy back and to feel empowered and still
So there's
hopeful?
so much to learn. It's a course where you do a lot of changes in your lifestyle and routines in order to feel empowered. The very simple one I would suggest is, when you wake up in the morning, don't jump out from the bed. You sit up straight and tall and close your eyes and count in your mind what are the things you are grateful for. So when you ask me what I'm grateful for, mostly people would say my job and my family, and that's all. They are not able to mention other things. So I wrote a book. It's called Code to Happiness. I have not uploaded on Amazon yet. I have not printed out the copies yet. But in that book, I shared how to develop
Mhm.
gratitude mindset using very simple tips, like practical tips. So I wrote 60 journals where 60 journals, 60 days, 600 journals, 10 journals per day, where I mentioned what I'm grateful for. So if I mention that I'm grateful for technology, which has connected me with LY show,
Mhm.
I would not mention this tomorrow. Tomorrow I must come up with something else. So each day I paid attention to 10 good things in my life, and it has an impact on how I can train my brain networks.
Mhm.
So I trained my brain networks to focus what's good. So that book is very helpful when it comes out, like how we can use simple ways to train our mind to pay attention to what's good. Because right now, if you discuss with somebody, you ask them if they are just going to complain about, oh, I'm stuck at home. So they have forgotten that they are getting this quality time with their family, which is not going to happen in the future. Maybe it might not. It didn't happen in the past. So
Mhm.
it's all about how you look at the things, how your perspective. So enhancing perspective will help a person to look at the things positively.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that book is a practical guide, and yeah, it's all about how you look at it. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you. And another question is for a lot of people who live alone. So how do they deal with loneliness?
social media is there. Like you can still mingle with your family members, do video calls, and do discussions with them, stay connected with your colleagues, make new friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there are still options.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yes. All right. So Miss Suchi, so what's the first thing would you like to do when it's all over?
I'm not missing out on anything. I'm someone who feel very contented about, there's a contentment about what's around me, what's happening. So I don't miss like, oh, I would do this, I would do that. I'm not. So neither I get very excited about life, nor I don't feel dull about it. So I'm someone who is very centered and grounded. So all right. So uh, there's no and right now we are having circuit breaker. Okay, so no circuit breaker. So what am I going to do? I will start visiting elderly. That's the first thing I would do because I want to reach out to them. So that's the first thing I would do. And yeah, the mask. Like I don't really like to wear mask every day. There's little there's redness here and redness here because when I wear mask and exercise, it just rubs against my skin. So I would love it when we don't need to wear mask anymore when we go out. Overall, I would like to see people feeling more at ease because right now I see none of them are smiling and they are feeling very irritated. They are getting agitated easily, and there is this panic. Like people are feeling like there's something they are missing out on. Like they're missing out on this, missing out on that. So there is this fear of missing out. So I would like them to be more relaxed. Yeah.
So Miss Suchi, you're such a joyful and dynamic person to be around with, and I, I really enjoy your vibe, and you worked hard, to be where you are, as you mentioned, and
I
I
did.
know a lot of people, yes, a lot of people, are thinking of starting out something new because of during this time. Okay, but they probably are, not very confident or the lack of resources. Okay, so what would you like to say to these people?
It would be good to know what are their visions, their mission, what would they like to do in real, as in like the purpose of their life, because we're not born just to do the 9 to 6 job and pay the bills and die. There's so much about us. What are we born for? We are born to do this and that. So it would be good to take some time out. Now, this is the time where you are having so much time. So it would be good to sit down, connect with yourself, play some nice soothing piano music with water sounds. Just set a timer for 5 minutes if you are really starting with this, and just let the thoughts come and go. Observe your thoughts, what kind of thoughts you have, what's your gut feeling, what's your intuition telling you to do, and then you take the steps accordingly. So it's really important to know what we really want in life, because most of the times people are not able to take the macro view of their overall life. So they are pretty much stuck in those small matters, nitty gritty stuff, and they tend to get caught into uh, just doing the routines, like going to work, come back, go to work, come back, and just take okay. So just good to have a family, children, yeah, good. But what are you born for? We're not just born for, as I mentioned, let's go to work, come back, and pay the bills and die. We are here for a special purpose. So everybody needs to find out. Like the purpose I found out is I'm born to spread laughter, humanity, kindness, love, positivity around. And I'm doing that. And it didn't happen. It was just doing a normal 9 to 6 job, or well, it wasn't, I'm not saying it's bad. But then when I came to know about like this is what I'm born for, I have not only taken this to the level where it's professional, where I'm getting paid and stuff, but also it's giving me a lot of sense of achievement, sense of contentment, and sense of fulfillment, which is the way to live life. So life to me is like a celebration. I don't live life feeling very angry, agitated, or I complain about anybody. No, I don't. So I'm living life like a celebration. Hey, come on, join me. Yay, come on. That too,
Exactly.
that too without taking any alcohol, no drugs, no drink. Because I speak about addiction control, like how you can manage your addictions. I speak at conferences. So it's all about knowing what's in here. Like there, we are built very powerfully the way we are designed. It's all about knowing our anatomy, our brain structure, and then tapping on our strengths and working on our weaknesses without even telling ourselves that we are weak.
Yeah, you mentioned that okay, people turn to alcohol and probably even drugs to get through the tough time. So
Yeah.
how, that is like a danger that can just creep in without, people noticing. So is there anything that people can pay attention to avoid that from happening?
So all of them need to know that there is a system in our brain where we can feel high without relying on, without taking drugs and alcohol. So that those are called happy hormones. So once they learn how to work on themselves and take the dosage of happy hormones, they don't need to rely on cigarettes, drinks, alcohol, and drugs even. Because cigarettes, drugs, and alcohol will make them feel good about themselves for a certain period only when there is the effect of um, that particular object they are relying on. But when it's over, they would still feel very sad, low, and depressed, right? So it's good to go naturally and work on the dosage of happy hormones so that they don't need to rely on something from outside to boost their energy levels and feel high. Yeah.
Mhm. All right, because you're professional, stress management yeah, expert. Does it mean that you have a mechanism that helps you digest negative information more effectively?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It does. It does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there
And
are
how?
many.
Mhm.
Yeah. There are many ways people can manage stress. First of all, I have spoken at 300 conferences. My When I start my presentation, my first question will be, "What's stress?" So all those professionals, I'm not looking down at them. Wherever I go, be it a community club or school or college or university, when I ask what's stress, people tend to tell me the reason for being stressful. They say, my wife is causing me stress, my boss is causing me stress, my working environment, my family, whoever. They would just blame it. So I would remind them, like, I was not asking what's causing you stress. What is stress? So there is, just like there is very little or no awareness about laughter, how beneficial it is, there is also very little or no awareness about stress. Like watch thousands of videos of people are presenting this and that, but what stress is, people don't really know. They just share the reasons what's making them feel stressful. Say, oh, because of this, because of that. But what stress is? So stress is primarily a physical response. So when we see something as causing us threat, like this is a threat for us, our brain starts to release a mixture of norepinephrine, adrenaline, and neurochemicals for us to take actions. So it's actually a mechanism where we are supposed to take action when there's something happening to us, and our brain is releasing those neurochemicals. So it's all about that. So once I am empowering people by telling them that don't feel stressful about having stress, because stress means your body is getting ready to take the action, but there is no need to take any action right now. Like everything is okay. So it's all about getting them to practice progressive muscle relaxation, where I play soothing piano music with water sounds. I use my voice. I breathe in, relax. So I do that, and I get people to learn how to manage themselves. So stress, there's very little or no awareness about it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Okay, Miss Suchi, thank you so much for sharing so much of your advice with us. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us? Any insights into this tough time?
I would like people to not to postpone their happiness. Most of them are not being happy right now in this moment. So our time on this earth is temporary. Everybody must remember that. It's temporary. So it will be good to enjoy this very moment before it changes, it goes away. Because look at the past, like how we were born and we grew, and it's just like in a blink, it's gone, right? So these days will also be gone. In the future, you don't know how many years you're going to be on this planet. So make sure that you have this awareness about being happy now. Like, don't postpone it. I would be happy when I get this. Something happens, someone proposes me, or I get the ring, or I go on a holiday. It would be good to start to be happy now, because happiness is energy. Just like success, wealth, money is energy. So when you are happier, money tends to come to you easily because it's energy. So you don't be so stressful and feel depressed and sad, because sadness, depression, anxiety is negative energy. And the more you are that way, the more you are pushing success and money away. Yeah.
Wow, this is a really, really something refreshing for all of us. I think me personally benefit a lot from listening to you, and I'm
Great.
glad you're
To know
with
that.
us. And I think our audience will benefit from talking to you. Yeah, we'll share. Okay, do you want us to share the link of your channel or your work in our?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am known as MS, that's Miss MS dot SUCHI. So I'm known as Miss Suchi. So last year when I Googled my name, I was at number 10. So now I am at number 1. When someone Googles Miss Suchi, I'm at number 1. So I work very hard to achieve that. And I don't have any website as such, but if people Google Miss Suchi, they will know my work. It's all there on Google. It's all there. So connect with me on social media platforms. I have 28,000 LinkedIn followers right now. So I'm growing my followers. I'm spreading positive vibes, just reaching out to many people worldwide where I can pass this information to them. Yeah, so just Miss Suchi will do. MS dot, that's Miss because I was the principal, and Suchi, SUCHI. So Miss Suchi, the laughter coach, the empowerment coach. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, thank you for your time. Okay, take care.
Yeah.